Hey, welcome back to Milton Daily Homes. Chuck here. We have a list of 18 properties, and today I have the pleasure of going to meet a seller in Old Milton who has a real charming property, front porch, a white picket fence. It's really lovely. So if you're interested in a home like that in the older part of town, on what the Toronto Star considered to be one of the best streets in the 905 area, reach out and let me know. Okay, so we have 18 properties. Let's get started. Even though this one doesn't have photos at 235 Bronte, number 78, the price point at 294, 888. The dynamics are there was one in on Childs with surface parking, which we reviewed in the videos, which just sold in the 290s. There's another one in this complex. I think it's still for sale, but it was at like 315. So this one, being 20,000 less, is positioned in a nice spot, and it's getting hard to find these condo towns for less than $300,000. I remember when I moved to Milton, the first number started with a 1, but that was the same with some of the Mattamy townhouses too, and obviously times have changed. So if this one's half decent inside, I gotta figure it's looking good for the price. Now, Dalhousie, unfortunately, is back on the market. It's our listing. Got a really good offer, but the buyers had some interesting financing troubles. And so, anyway, it's back on. Current model, dark hardwood floors. This is actually a chalk paint, and it can be great for parties. You also have the upgrade up here is you have 2 full bathrooms upstairs, plus you've got laundry on the upstairs, and you're 2 doors away from a park just over here. So it's looking good. It's a great option for a first-time buyer. Another thing that's very hard to find is bungalows under $400,000, and so we've got one on Kingsleigh Court here. Would have been nice to do the dishes, take some stuff off the fridge. However, you hope someone can look past that, especially at this price point. You're not looking for fantastic, unbelievable. You're looking for something with good bones in this kind of price range, and it's a great alternative for someone who may be considering a condo. The lot's nice and big, and it backs onto a park, so it can also be good for a family, maybe with 1 kid. You're finding a full bathroom upstairs and a full bathroom downstairs. I like it. I love the price point. Next up is a Mattamy Bryant model, 419. There was one that listed a couple days ago for 425 with a finished basement. There was a huge sale of one of these models recently, so it's going to do well. It's nice if you match the appliances up, and so the microwave being black, everything else being white. I don't know how I'd handle that, and hey, they have fancy knobs, so that's a reason to pay more. But the dark floors, the California shutters, it just looks like it's nice and move-in ready, and it doesn't look like there's any carpet. Barclay Circle's a pretty low traffic street as well, so got a lot going for it. Active price range, they're going to do well. Now, Governors is in a different location than Kingsleigh Court. They also happen to be asking $70,000 more. Probably between $10,000 and $20,000 of that is for the garage. It does have siding on the outside. Kingsleigh's all brick, and a little bit more updating. But if you're gonna tear something out of this home, you might as well tear it out of Kingsleigh, which is a little bit more basic condition. And either way, you'd kind of be starting from scratch. The basement looks a little scary. I don't know. It's still, this is entry point for Dorset Park. Really, there's not a lot less than this, and but I think that this one shows what a screamer of a deal Kingsleigh is, provided that they're both structurally in good shape. One other thing to mention with Governors. Vendor acknowledges there's an occasional active leak in the basement off the east side of the property. Now that's interesting. Homes like this, there's a weeping tile around the foundation, and so by this time in a home's life, the weeping tile is probably not functional. To go down, put more weeping tile in, I think you're around 25 a linear foot, so it can start to add up pretty quick. So anyway, I just thought that was excellent truth in advertising. Why not, right? If you're going to sell something like this, instead of it coming back to bite you, always better to disclose. 916 Rego is a Mattamy Plan 1. It's like 1,100 square feet. There's actually no bathroom on the main floor. There was one that listed maybe a month ago and it had a bathroom on the main floor. I don't know where they put it, but that is pretty much it. 2 bathrooms upstairs, but if you have guests or a dinner party, you're gonna have to go upstairs to go to the bathroom. However, this price point and really the way this one looks, I would say, is going to attract attention. But detached homes with the first digit being 4, especially in the new area, are not easy to find. So we went a little gaga for the one on Watson yesterday. I thought it was excellent. Well, guess what? We got another good one here. It's a little bit smaller, less than 100 square feet, but it is a little smaller technically. They're listed a little bit higher. I think it's equally as good. I mean, in person, you might find that there's a difference and one looks better. What I like about this one is very subtle, but they put an actual cupboard door or an actual finished piece on the end of this island. You don't always see that. Normally, it's just kind of a flat finishing piece on the end, but molding on the top of the kitchen, nice looking backsplash. Pot lights, California shutters. This model, people complain a little bit about how little closet space there is in the master. There is a solution. So if you own this model or if you're considering buying this one, give me a call or send me an email and I'll give you a good little workaround. We always talk about in daily homes, if your laundry room looks like this, I could guess that the rest of the house is probably in very good shape, because a laundry room is something that only the people, I think, that really, really care about their home start doing work like that in the laundry area. So anyway, the other thing, it also backs onto at 818 watts, and I'm going to guess the park. I was wrong yesterday. I said park, but then when I looked it up, it was the greenspace, the Union Gas Trail. So September 8th, 2015, usually when we see a date like that, it means that the sellers have a next step in mind, and to take that into consideration, maybe you have the opportunity to negotiate on that point. Hey, I gave you your closing, you know, what are we going to trade for, or what do I get for giving the closing? But again, it all depends on how many people are interested. It depends on the kind of activity, because if you get a buyer to be afraid that the next person's going to buy it, that's when opportunities arise for you as a seller. That's when leverage and momentum carry in your direction. 485 Pringle number 21 is at 644.9. We actually just sold this one right here, and we did sell it for less than this one. And it's certainly a tricky, interesting market. They're the same floor plan, because these homes are considered townhouses. Technically, they are joined by the garage, and so having a home like this with 9-foot ceilings, with having good floor space, it's funny that the resistance and even the marketing is you've got to change the direction of everything that you talk about because it is attached. Mattamy marketed these as a real luxury area, and so you can see the escarpment from here. It's right by Tremaine. I think they're very interesting. When they first came out, I had a lot of resistance about this price point in Milton. But the thing is you go down to Oakville, these homes are $1 million. So there is a market for them, obviously. They sell quite well in Oakville. And so we'll see what happens. I think that they're definitely fighting against the price that the one sold for right next door. So we've got a Glenwood model on Philbrook, one that just same model as this with stucco backing onto greenspace on Fenimore, just sold. That was the one that was actually selling for less than what they paid for it a few months ago. It's a good floor plan. Here's one of my favorite parts of today's episode. You've got the Kramer photo up in the nook upstairs. That obviously is very difficult to dust. But above there, actually, if we go back to this, if you kind of look behind, there's a little loft area just outside the master bedroom. Hopefully they show that in the pictures. I think that's probably just wallpaper right here, although it could be a finished stone. There's the loft area upstairs, and then from there you enter the master. So there's There's like 5 or 6 shots of the dining room, but there's no shots of the bedroom or anything upstairs. It looks like there's also a finished rec room downstairs. All of those might contribute to the value. What I like most about this one is the school district. The Coates schools have a great reputation, Our Lady of Fatima and also Tigerjeet Singh. Next up is Hollinrake 869. It is a Tothburg model, and I think it's dressed up really well. I mean, you know, the style for cabinets. The most wide appeal right now is either going with like a creamy white color cabinet or going with a darker cabinet. But I think that this one looks good. I like an open concept home that has hardwood through the kitchen because it flows a little bit better versus breaking it up with ceramics. Crown molding. The ensuite in this home is fabulous. It's great. There's 2 sinks here. You've got this tub. It's got the higher ceiling. It's very impressive, and I love the way that they framed this with these little screens, the plants. You've got a light that hangs down a little bit. I think it really finishes the look. There's a den, kind of a loft space upstairs, plus 4 bedrooms. They also have 3 full bathrooms up on the 2nd floor, and a finished basement. And you're backing onto green space too. So we've seen nice versions of this home without the green space and without a finished basement that have gone around $820, $830. So basement probably adds 20 to 30 on a home like this, plus the green space. I really like this one. I think it's a fantastic deal, and the neighborhood is awesome. So I have a feeling this sides onto Clark, but that green space is amazing. Love this one. Now, if you want to go up to the next level on finishes, you can go to this one on Sydenham, but it's smaller than Hollinrake. It's also newer. It does back onto green space. The finishes are really nice. This is a nice looking home. Value-wise, you have to compare this and say, okay, for what I'm getting in here, does that compare? So this is a smaller house. It's 300 square feet smaller than the one we just showed you. Green space is equal. Neighborhood's a little bit different. And yeah, and then you don't have a finished basement. So you're trading 300 square feet plus a finished basement for some of the unique features, provided that you believe the values in the neighborhoods are similar. It's a nice looking ensuite too. That's a model home quality right there. Very nice. Next up is Ennisclare, a little bit further out, 4th line and 25, or 25th side road, not Highway 25 or Regional Road 25. Anyway, it's a very modern looking home. It's been on the market off and on for a while now. Very modern look. This to me looks like Patrick Bateman's apartment.
My name is Patrick Bateman. I'm 27 years old. I believe in taking care of myself, in a balanced diet and a rigorous exercise routine. In the morning, if my face is a little puffy, I'll put on an ice pack while doing my stomach crunches. I can do 1,000 now.
Wide open living spaces. Yeah, there's one on Ennisclare. I think it's still for sale. It's like 6,000 square feet of living space. It's huge. It has a pond and a pool. It's on a larger lot than this one. It's got a heated workshop. That looks fancy. Anyway, it's listed for a lot less than this, like 500,000 less. Nothing on Ennisclare I think has sold up as high as this. You do get a 1/29th ownership of the adjoining 90 acres. Not sure how that would impact future value, if that's protected land or if you could ever develop on it. But anyway, this to me, this one seems a little bit high. You would think that being on the market as long as they'd have a pretty good sense of value and showing activity and all the rest of it, which hopefully leads you to certain conclusions about pricing. Okay, so moving on, we have a 4th floor unit at Bristol on Main, 272.9. It's a 1-bedroom plus a den, and none of these shots are of the condo. That's not the condo right there, although the condo does have higher ceilings. 4th floor, you've got the 12-foot ceilings. These are all common areas. There's no photos inside. That being said, for a 1+1 on the 4th floor in this building at this price, I would say if it's not completely destroyed inside, if it's in half decent shape, that's a good price. Now today is the day of old Milton bungalows. So we have one on Frobisher here at 519. So the direct comparisons from even today's list would be Kingsleigh Court, even though it's a different area, and also the one on Governors. You know, this one here is probably slightly better condition than either of the other two that we saw. It would still be, without the pool, which you had a sneak peek of, it would still be a home that lands in the 4s. So a pool is something that might cost you, you know, a pool like this might cost you $30,000, $40,000 to put in. Do you get it back? Not usually. You're lucky if you get 25% of what you put into a pool. So any pool decision would have to be predicated on the fact that you're going to stay in the home for a while to try and absorb some of that cost. It's almost like buying a pair of shoes for $100 and knowing that you get to use them for as long as you want, but when you trade them back in, they're worth $25. So how much of that $75 is actually going to be used up in use over the years? So anyway, there's not a lot of homes with pools right now. There's actually 2 in this list. We didn't talk about one of them, but you can check all the properties down below. I don't know. We'll see what happens with this one. I think that maybe that scarcity of pools, especially in this neighborhood right now, could positively impact them. Okay, so that's the list for today. Thanks for watching. If you want to see anything in this list, as always, you can reach out by email or by phone, and we are definitely here to help you make good decisions when buying or selling real estate. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.